All right. So in the midst of Ted Cruz and his faux filibuster, exactly what we thought would happen with the Tea Party is happening with the Tea Party. I'm talking, of course, of support of the Tea Party around the country. There's a new Gallup poll. Now, before I give you the numbers from the new Gallup poll, let me remind you, Lewis, just in case people have forgotten, what essentially was our consensus about what would happen with the Tea Party. And we said this years ago, okay? We've now confirmed that the Tea Party was in fact funded. It was AstroTurf. It wasn't grassroots. It was funded by Koch brothers and big corporations. So years ago, we said that one of two things would happen with the Tea Party. Number one, the Tea Party would essentially disappear in the sense that the ideas and or specific Tea Party candidates would probably be voted out, or they would no longer be members of the Tea Party. Or number two, any remnants of the Tea Party would simply become assimilated into the broader Republican Party, and the Tea Party on its own would not really have much clout. The numbers seem to confirm that. Fewer Americans now describe themselves as supporters of the Tea Party movement than did at the height of that movement in 2010, or even at the start of 2012. Today's 22% support nearly matches the record low from 2 years ago. There's been essentially no recovery at all. The Tea Party just seems to be dead in the water. If we look at some more specific numbers, this is the most fascinating thing, Lewis. Opponents of the Tea Party outnumber supporters of the Tea Party 27% to 22%. That's fine. This is the most fascinating thing. 51% of Americans are neither supporters nor opponents of the Tea Party. In other words, they have no opinion or simply do not care. It's almost worse to have people just absolutely indifferent to what you're doing. They're not for it. They're not against it. They could not care less about what you're doing because they don't consider you legitimate. For all of the hundreds of millions of dollars at this point, or certainly tens of millions of dollars that have poured into a combination of Tea Party groups and Tea Party candidates, the fact that more than half of America just doesn't give about the Tea Party, that to me is way worse than having 20% oppose what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess so. Essentially, it's just disappearing or just integrating into the GOP as we predicted. And now we just have to wait and see what the next group that pops up is and try to find out who's funding them.
Yeah, and really, if we're going to have a successful third party, it can't be AstroTurf funded by people and then bringing in individuals who are advocating for things they wouldn't even benefit from. Like as we talked about, most of those who identify themselves as Tea Partiers would not benefit from defunding Obamacare. They wouldn't benefit from tax cuts for the rich. Yet they advocate for these things. Makes no sense.